Well, for more on Nike, let's head to Santa Barbara in California, where Matt Powell is standing by. He's a vice president and senior industry advisor with the NPD Group. Welcome to the show. So we saw that Nike CEO Mark Parker talked about the company's ability to scale innovation at a faster pace and expand new digital consumer experiences around the world. So what should consumers expect this year?
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of new products coming out from Nike. Most of the innovation that's happening is really behind the scenes, whether it's the new stores you mentioned in New York City or a much improved website. They're putting a lot of innovation into manufacturing techniques to make products more sustainable or to get products to the market more quickly. And all of that will add up to success for Nike.
Now, for people unfamiliar with the story, walk us through how Nike's brand has evolved to where it is now from its humble beginnings.
Well, in the beginning of the athletic shoe business in the United States, it really was focused on athletes as opposed to the general public, and actually more men than women. But over time, we've seen athletic footwear be co-opted by the fashion consumer as casual footwear to show that you're fit and with it. The marketplace today is much more focused on sportswear than it is on gym wear.
Now, we saw some mixed results in its third quarter results. Nike sales slowing in its home market, the US, but gaining momentum overseas, especially in China. And Nike CFO Andy Campion saying the company is still far from realizing the long-term opportunity in this market, even with the tariff concerns looming overhead. What are your thoughts on their expansion into China?
Yeah, I think it's been very successful for Nike. China will be their second largest geography after the United States. China will soon in the near term be the largest sneaker market in the world. So it's really appropriate that they've taken a leadership position there.
Now, we know that NCAA's March Madness is underway. For our international viewers, that's the U.S. National College Basketball Championship Tournament. And of course, one player to watch, Duke University's Zion Williamson, as we saw his shoe splitting apart during one of the Duke games, but didn't really seem to make a dent for Nike in terms of damage to its bottom line or its brand. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I don't think this shoe really will have much of an impact. This incident will have much of an impact. Nike makes 400 million pairs of shoes a year. One or two failing out there is really not a big deal. Interestingly, after Williamson's shoe blew out, Adidas had a similar situation with an Indiana player. These things happen. It's very embarrassing for a brand like Nike, especially with a marquee player like Williamson. But at the end game, this will not make a difference at all.
Now let's also look at the Women's World Cup. We know that Nike's design for Nigeria's men's team made a huge splash last year, selling out around the world. Can we expect that same marketing magic for the women's kit?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of interest around the women's game. Soccer does not mean that much in the United States, but it certainly is the sport of choice around the world. And the U.S. women's team continues to play much better than the men's team. So I think that will get us some attention here. But this is much more about a global marketing story than a U.S. specific story.
Now, we know that Nike recently marked the 30th anniversary of its Just Do It campaign, and Nike has been making some bold moves lately with its advertising choices. So what do you think it knows about advertising in this age of social media that its competitors haven't quite caught up with yet?
Yeah, I think that the real key here is that the millennial and Gen Z consumer wants their brands to take visible positions on social issues. They do not want brands to be neutral any longer. They want brands to step up and confront the issues that are important to them. We've seen both Nike and Adidas take visible stands on marriage equality, for instance. Both of them are pushing hard on sustainability. And the Kaepernick campaign, I think, is a reflection of that as well. The younger consumer supports what Kaepernick stands for, and I think Nike did the right thing in supporting the same concept that their base thinks is important.
So looking at the way that the brand has been evolving and adapting, what's your outlook for Nike in terms of their identity?
Well, I think that the U.S. market is going to be sluggish this year. We have several systemic issues that are pressing down on the sneaker market, and I think their results today may be reflective of that. But all in, Nike should continue to grow. I think there's still major upside for them in China. They clearly are winning in Western Europe, and they're doing much better in the United States than they were, although these results today announced were a little disappointing.
All right, Matt Powell, a Vice President and Senior Industry Advisor with the NPD Group.